Welcome back to Ozarks Live. It's time to check back in with Tom.
How are things going over at the Branson IMAX, Tom?
Okay, you know, I am at the IMAX Entertainment Complex right here in Branson, Missouri, and we talked about a film a little bit earlier, and it was called Dear Sirs. I have the director and producer with me right now, Mark Pedri and Carrie McCarthy. Thanks for joining me, first of all. Okay, I'm gonna turn to you first because we spoke first.
Yeah.
No offense.
Best for last.
Tell me about Dear Sirs, because yes, it is a documentary, but it's also, I guess you'd call it a labor of love.
It is, yeah. It's a very personal story. It's a journey through World War II, 75 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about my grandfather, who was a prisoner of war in Germany. So Carrie and I, the way we told the story is we put together all the pieces of what he had left behind because he's passed away. But then we took our bikes to Germany to retrace his route and tell that story.
Okay, on surface that seems pretty easy as long as you have a lot of information to begin with. Did you have to piece a lot from different sources? This couldn't be just like, oh yeah, we got this.
No, of course not. So what we started with was an archive that we found in Mark's grandfather's house that nobody knew existed.
Oh.
And so we sort of, tugged at those strings and tried to put everything into a chronological order. And when we did that, we realized how many holes in the story there were, which caused us to realize we needed to go to France and Germany to dig through their archives and meet the local historians there to be able to tell the full story. So that's sort of what led to us on our bikes in the wintertime in Germany.
Did you find surprises, something that you went, oh my gosh, Granddad went through this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is very common of documentaries about veterans because every story is so different. And from the outside, we tend to think that, a prisoner of war is a prisoner of war, a Silver Star award is a Silver Star, but every story is so different. And for my grandpa, he was captured toward the end of the war. So rather than being taken to one camp, and that's where he spent his entire time, he was moved every time the Allies pushed further and further into Germany. So the most surprising part was just seeing how much land he had covered throughout his journey.
Yeah.
Some of it by foot, some of it by train, and the differences of some of those camps toward the end of the war when resources were depleted, and it got difficult at times to kind of be in that place and know that someone so close to you had been through that.
I would imagine also from that side of the story, when you have that constant change going on, you never know what the end result is going to be.
Yeah, and that's true. And we had little scraps and bits of the story that kind of filled in, the next piece, piece. And he had written on these very, minimal, just a scrap of paper saying, marched from camp to camp, slept on a rock floor, worked on the railroad, things like that. So then going there with that scrap of paper, you're able to see, well, that railroad still exists, and the camp still exists. Maybe now it's something different, or in some cases, it still exists in the same way. But just going to those places, it was life-changing for me. And to put that into a film now and have an audience experience that in 90 minutes, that's what's incredible about being here.
Oftentimes I hear that veterans don't want to talk to other people about this. Was that true of your granddad? Did you really have any idea?
He never shared any details whatsoever about his service. We knew that he had served in World War II. He had prisoner of war license plates. We would try to ask him, what's that all about? What really is a prisoner of war? Because we really had no idea.
Yeah.
And he would steer clear of anything related to that.
Yeah, I know I've heard that story. And is that why, do you think it's so important for, the next generation, the generation after that, to make sure you make contact? That's why these documentaries are so important?
Yeah, I think so. And maybe someone's not ready to tell you their story, but just reaching out to let them know you're there or that you care and giving them the opportunity, if they wish, to share that story. I think when we show the film, a lot of people open up almost spontaneously after the film to us, and we're just two people, filmmakers.
Yeah.
So what we hope is that it encourages people to open up to those closest to them, friends and family, because we don't want to lose these stories, for sure.
Absolutely not. Well, thank you both for the work that you've done. And, you know, the nicest way you can say thank you is come and see the film. Come and see all the films that are here, right at the Branson IMAX Entertainment Center, right here in Branson. Back to you.
Thanks, Tom. Lots of great ways to celebrate veterans this Veterans Day over at the Branson IMAX. So
Absolutely.